All right, everybody, welcome to this week's edition of the Corn Belt Umpires Zoom Lunch Clinic. My name is Jake Samp. I got Dan and Russ here with me as well. Going to be talking a little three-man. Connor is once again MIA. Actually, I'm kidding. He is not MIA. He is on the field right now in Omaha, Nebraska, working a college postseason regional tournament. So congratulations to him. And he'll be back next week, I hope. Talking three-person this week. And if I can find, there we go. So first, we'll just kind of talk with no one on. The cool thing about the three-umpire system is that it builds upon the two-umpire system. Anytime we have an umpire go out, we're going to revert back to the two-umpire system. And I should say that my three-umpire system knowledge is greatly limited compared to both Russ and Dan. But you know, I can count on two fingers how many three-mans I've worked this year. And they've worked far more than I have, especially this year and in years past. So not an expert by any means, but you got a couple guys on here that can answer a lot of really good questions if you have them. So when we have nobody on base, we say that the position of the umpires right now, I'll draw an arrow here. Actually, I'm gonna draw a box. This area here, as well as this area here, we refer to as the wings. And so if you hear me say, when we're on the wings, that's what I mean. We still have our normal A position here. B position is going to change a little bit, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. There's C, but then over here we add the D position. So as far as no runners on, fair foul coverage, basically plate umpire up to the base. The wing umpires get the base and the lines out to the foul pole. We got a ball hit in the infield with no runners on. U3 in this case is going to run basically into the infield, just in case we have an overthrow or something of that nature. U1 is going to treat this just like any other ground ball in the infield using the 2-4-6 rule. And then the plate umpire is coming up the line like they would on a normal play in the infield. So the only thing we're adding is basically U3 is coming across the infield. And the plate umpire still has the tag responsibilities for pulled foot, swipe tag, and whatnot. Yeah, I forgot Connor animated this. I don't need to show how crappy my telestrator skills are today.
Thank God.
All right.
One thing I'll add right here real quick. If you are transitioning from position D and the ball is hit to as the plate umpire will be looking the left side of the infield, you don't want to race into where the fielder's at. You can either take a wider route. There you go. That's the traditional in towards second base. And it's highly unlikely there's going to be a play at second base. We're going over there for the odd option of an overthrow at first or something that you wouldn't normally see. But Terry Helgett had great advice on this. He says, look, don't run into a third baseman who's making a play. Don't go anywhere near him. Don't even be in his vision. So if it means that you hold up, you can, because there's very unlikely going to be a play at second base for you anyway. You don't want to over hustle here.
What Dan's talking about is getting to the back of the bag too, I think. And yeah, that's if you got something on the left side of the field, or the C side of the field, if you want to talk in those terms. Yeah, definitely work outside and go to the back of second base. I'm when I'm working U3 on the rare occasion that I get to, I'm always talking. So like if I got fielders in front of me, I'm gonna let them know where I'm at. Hey, I'm coming to your left or whatnot. That way I don't get run into. It doesn't look very good when you run into a fielder, and they're not usually too thrilled with you either.
Yeah, so I'm going to add a couple things here. We have you've got SU3 doing exactly what Dan is talking about, holding up a little bit. You have the added benefit of being able to see the flight of that baseball to throw to first base. You're going to know if it's a true throw or not. So you have advanced information that they were giving you, makes the job so much easier. You don't have to necessarily over hustle yourself to second base if it's a true throw and there's an out. Doesn't mean you give up because that ball might be dropped. It's just it adds to the likelihood of a quality play or the quality result to the end of a play. Conversely, if you don't have a good throw, you do have to get to second base. You cannot forget, however, that you alone are also, as U3, responsible for what happens at third base. So you are covering two bases. No one else is coming to help you. So you don't want to overcommit to first base, or second base, because of your possible responsibilities at third base. That gives you a chance to read the runner, as well as where did that throw go. If it's not a true throw, how far away did it get? Use your spidey sense, your baseball sense, to take your best guess of where that play is likely to be.
So one other thing to kind of as a preface to the 3 umpire system is, and you're going to hear Russ, Dan, and I say this a lot. We talk about 90 feet versus 180 feet. And that gets a little bit, when we start talking more in depth about the 3 umpire system, that becomes even more prevalent. What Russ is saying about not over hustling is huge. U3 literally has 90 feet of ground to cover, and the runner or batter runner, I guess in this case, has 180 feet he has to cover. So we don't have to over hustle, so to speak, to get there. And if we know that the throw is true, great. If we know that the throw is not true, then we need to read and use our baseball senses accordingly. All right, ball hit to the infield with a runner on first base. U1 is 68 feet behind first base and square to the pitcher, with right foot next to foul line. You want to be in a position to read, if we have a potential pickoff play, what's going to happen. One piece of advice that I would give to newer umpires to the 3 umpire system, and Dan and Russ, if I'm stupid, tell me, because I know you won't hesitate to. After the pitch, and I think this diagram's a little long for where I stand at. I'm usually standing about here, but I take a step towards first base, or I wouldn't say that necessarily towards first base, but I take a step to get a better line on a potential play at first base, on a back pick, because when we started, or when the SDUA transitioned to the 2 umpire system from the CCA book, we talked about how the theory is, what's most likely to happen without the ball being put in play. Well, in this case, it's a steal of second base or a back pick of first base. In the 3 umpire system, U2 in this diagram, U3 on the field has second base covered. So we don't have to worry about that as U1. As U1, we have responsibility on that back pick. And so it will feel mundane. It will feel monotonous to take that step or two after every pitch. But when that back pick happens, it's just muscle memory. You're already there. And by the time the ball gets there and everybody's looking there, you're stopped, you're set, and you're making the call. And I mean, yeah, they might try to argue with you, but they really don't have much of an argument. So on a ball hit in the infield, U2 is in deep B. And Dan and Russ, I think this is a really good philosophical discussion. I wish Terry was here, because I've had guys tell me, be right here. I've had others say right here, but my normal 2 umpire system, I'm about right here. And for working 3, I like to be here, a little bit off of the dirt, just so I can, have that much more distance to turn around and be set for that play at second base. Thoughts?
I'll give you what Terry gave me. We were unlucky in that one of my crew at the UMAC this weekend got picked as a juror. And so he missed out, and that sucked, because he really was excited to get back in the mix. So we had a pretty good replacement for our first plate to kick us off. A fellow named Terry Helgett, we call him Chief Sleepy Eye. And what he did, he literally was watching his partner, U3, in this situation. What he wants here, Jake, is essentially the furthest red dot that you've got at where the cut, basically, where the circle around, that dot right there, that's where he wants you. He wants you heels almost in the baseline, certainly in the grass. Sometimes the grass on a turf field, where that position looks, it actually is in the runner's lane, or in that position. So you need to come a step forward from that. But where you're pointing right there, he wants you. He doesn't even mind if you're in the hitter's eye. He wants you close to second base so that you're in great position on that steal play. So he doesn't want you in forward. He doesn't want you halfway. The B position for U3 is about being almost in that runner's lane. You want to be in the baseline, and he wants you closer to second base, which is what I've been doing all along. What we had was a guy that was coming probably 10 to 12 feet toward first base in his initial set, almost sort of anticipating what a two-person base umpire position would be, and it is not appropriate. Doesn't fit.
Gotcha. Let's see what animations Connor's put in here for us. Ball hit in the infield. Same 2-4-6 plate umpire up the line. U2 is just responsible for the runner. That's all she wrote. So double play. This is where advanced 3 umpire system mechanics can come into play here. Not as much because we have just R1 only, but when you start getting, R1, R2, it becomes a little bit more prevalent. Just on a normal double play, U1 is coming in, not quite into the base path. I don't think he's got the animation here, just a little bit far, but still kind of following the 2-4-6, but just a little bit further. Our pre-pitch positioning in the 2 umpire system, we're square to home plate. In the 3 umpire system, we want to be square to the dugout. And so U2 is going to have all responsibility here at first base. And there's no need to transition with the throw as U2, U3. Just stay there and watch. Because while everybody can come and get a forced play slide, you shouldn't have to have your partners come bail you out on a forced play slide. Because if you do it right, you're just standing there. I treat taking plays at second base on a potential double play similar to how I would take a balk or a pickoff, I should say, not a balk, when I'm on the plate. When I'm on the plate and I got a pickoff, my head doesn't move. I just just am staring right at the pitcher, and I'm making sure that we have distance and direction, and I'm making sure that we had a legal pickoff move. I don't need to see what's going on at first base or whatever base it is. I could care less. I got a partner for that. And so just stand there and watch what happens around second base.
Yeah, I want to emphasize maybe the importance of that and maybe go a little bit farther. You should not know what the result of the play at second or at first base is. Maybe the only clue would be a reaction from the crowd. I can't tell you if I've ever seen a play happen at first base when I'm used 2 or 3. I just don't know. In fact, my back is to that play because I'm so focused on that slide and getting that the force part of the play correct, the force play slide, and then I see the release of the throw, and I continue to officiate what's going on at second base. Just because a throw is gone and a play happens at first base doesn't mean we can't have problems at second. You should not know the result of that play, and you sure in the world should not be looking at it.
You got a job to do. That's right.
Perfect. All right, ball hit in the infield, R1, R2. So we're going to do the exact same thing that we did in R1, only with potential double play. The only difference is what U3 does here. I think. He didn't animate that part. Okay. So if we're anticipating double play ball, what U2 does depends on what side of the field the ball is hit on. So I'm going to divide the field into I'm going to put B side and C side up. All right. So the goal, theory, desire is that if we have a ball hit on the C side of the field, U3 stays essentially where they're at, and they're taking the double play where they're, we always say chest to baseball, chest to open glove. So if the second baseman's taking it, we want to be square to the second baseman. If we were hit onto the B side of the field here, then we're going to try to slide over and get squared up to the shortstop taking that play at second base. Am I missing anything, guys?
On point.
Cool. All right. So we got a ball that's hitting the infield. We got a runner on second base only with less than 2 outs. In the 3-umpire system, yes, the number of outs does matter as far as pre-pitch positioning is concerned. The general rule of thumb is anytime you have a runner on first base, U1 will be at first base. If there's a runner on base that is not at first base, so R2 or R2, R3, then U1 is in the middle. But if there's 2 outs, that all goes out the table or out the window, and U1's back at in the A position. So a ground ball in the infield, plate umpire's coming up. U1's coming to take that play. I don't know about going below the base path. I mean, I've taken that play before, just kind of how I would normally take it in 2-man. And then the only thing I would add to this is probably that U3 is going to come right in here and just get to the baseline extended on a potential play there. In the 2-umpire system, when we're taking plays at third base, we're always taking them from this kind of general area. In the 3-umpire system, we have a little bit more flexibility and liberty to take plays from foul territory.
Jake, I was working U1 this past weekend, and I did get a ground ball to the second baseman, and he was playing it at sort of double play depth, regulation depth, double play depth, and I raced directly between the mound and first base. It's a fantastic look. You can come under the base path in this B position if a ball is hit to the right side of the infield. If it's to your left side as you're standing there, it's absolutely open there. And you can work almost into the outfield grass if permitted by the nature of the call. You really do have a wide open triangle to go get your best angle at the foot and at the play at first. There's no red X.
Never a red X.
Especially not here. Concur, Russell?
Absolutely. I wouldn't be too caught up in thinking I can't go across the base path as E1. You're at second base. It's highly unlikely that R2 is going to go back to first base. So you don't have anybody that you're going to cross. So just get your angle.
Awesome. So with no runners on or a runner on third base only, we're going to be on the wings. And you basically treat this, for at least for the plate umpire, like you treat a normal R3 only situation in the 2 umpire system. Step back, point of plate. Oop. And I guess he didn't animate this part. U1, I'll have to tell him to fix that. Because this should be position A. Still square to third base dugout. And ground ball in the infield. Either U1's gonna come or U3 is gonna come to the back of second base, or they're gonna just kind of come in and take whatever play we have over here at first base. All right, balls of the outfield. This is something that I guess I've been struggling of recent times with. Dan and Russ, you'll get a good kick out of this one. I was with Connor and another guy doing a indie ball exhibition game, and I'm working U3 and see a ball get a fly ball, and I watched the left fielder take like 4 hard sprinting strides in. So I go out, and the shortstop catches it like it's routine. I definitely heard about that one between innings. So pause, read, react for sure. If it's your part, make sure if the ball is not in your coverage area, make sure you read your partner. And make sure we're communicating. I would say over communicating on balls hit to the outfield where we're going out. I think international signal for I'm going out is point to the sky, I'm going out, and turn and go cover the fly ball. There are 4 reasons, I should say, to go out on a fly ball. That is where the foul line is threatened, the fence is threatened, you have a ball that will be caught at or below the waist, or you have a ball that will be caught where there are 2 fielders converging on each other. If one umpire goes out, you revert back to the 2 umpire system. Did I miss anything?
No, I'm liking it.
All right. Let's talk coverage area. We got nobody on. Plate umpire, you have no catch responsibility in this play. This looks like the mechanics are set for U3 to quarterback this. But this is something that you have to pregame because there are certain mechanics manuals that say that U1 quarterbacks and starts everything. Others say U3 starts it. So I'm going to do this. So what I mean by quarterbacking, if the center fielder does any of these movements, that is U3. If the center fielder breaks to right field, then that is U1. Other mechanics manuals have it flipped, where if the center fielder goes to left, that is U3's call. And if they come in, back, or to right, that is U1's call. Something to pregame. Who has what responsibility with the center fielder? When I'm working on the bases, I'm not going to say that's the most important thing that I pregame with whoever I'm working with on the wing, but that's definitely in the top 3 things that I'm going to pregame with them, because, you know, I don't want to be working out of the more modern approach with U1 quarterbacking. And they think I'm working out of the old, more the traditional approach where U3 kind of starts everything. And so definitely make sure that the wing umpires are on the same page as far as who has what covered responsibility. And at the end of the day, if you're not sure, communicate and somebody just take the ball. You know, I think that's kind of the best way that I can explain it. I don't know if Dan or Russ have another way to explain it or have their thoughts as well.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to steal Russ's thunder a little bit. I've worked it with guys that I didn't know before. Almost any ball that doesn't have the center fielder racing to his right is going to remain U1s on my crews. And here's why. It's going to take U1 getting a good angle and being able to see catch, no catch, and keeping U3 in front of the advancing runners. There's just a real advantage to keeping U3 in position to see touches and to get plays. And he's just not chasing, doesn't have to do any navigating in order to get all that in front of him. Now, if you've got, and why, this is why it's important. I always look at my outfielders before the first pitch of the game, before the bottom of the first inning, first pitch of the game. How deep are they? What hand are they using with a glove? So if the center fielder is left-handed, got a glove on his right hand, and turns and runs this way, I'm not going to get a very good look at that. I'm not going to get glove side. All I'm going to be able to see is maybe behind him. So that's probably going to trigger me to tell my partner. And if you've ever worked with Garrett Moselle, that man doesn't just communicate before the ball is in the air, but his communication after the ball is hit is exceptional. It's unreal. And he's created a bunch of little drones in Northwest. We all tend to do it now at the highest levels because it's vital. Okay. It stops that failed rotation. It stops that mistake. And it gets you stronger, and you know where your boy is. You're not looking at feet, but you're listening and looking at feet. So if the center fielder is wearing the glove on his left hand, is right-handed, and he's not diving hard as U1, I'm likely to grab it, particularly if he was shading a left-handed batter, let's say, toward right field. If he was playing closer to left field, he's going to stay U3's decision, and most likely I'm going to order U3 to go out. Now, if he takes 4 steps and starts to settle, and one of us decides that it's not a trouble ball, you're going to see U1 decide to go down toward the plate and say, I'm going home. No such thing as too much communication. I've heard that from umpires that are working in Omaha. And so I'm going to use it when I'm working in, at University of Northwestern. I'm going to use it everywhere that I get to work. I'm going to say where I'm going, and I'm going to hope that my partner interprets it. And when you're working with guys as often as we are, it starts to become second nature. It really is exceptional. But U1 is the quarterback, and that doesn't mean U1 makes all the decisions. It means he makes the first one. And if U3 doesn't like what he's done, you give him his read, but then go. And we'll operate, we'll umpire from there. Russ, I didn't want to speak for you, but just in case you were too busy trying not to kill anybody.
It's almost like we've been partners for 25 years.
And Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, so I've been at the college level for 5 years now. And I think maybe my first and second year, I think U3 was still kind of the quarterback. If my memory is correct, I'd have to go pull a CCA book to look. But I mean, within the last 3-ish years, I think the NCAA and through the CCA, the Collegiate Commissioners Association, has gone to having U1 start everything because, like Dan said, it's so much easier for U3 to keep the runners in front of them, watch touches and things like that. I know in South Dakota, we're still using the traditional approach. And I'm working my tail off along with a couple other umpires to try to change that mentality where, it's no longer, U3 is the Maytag man or the quarterback, it's U1. But you got to pregame. Communication is of utmost importance. And if anybody on this call ever gets the opportunity to work with G Money, you got to do it, because that was the most fun 5 innings of my umpiring career, I think, with you, Garrett, and shoot, I don't even remember who was at first base on that game, but that was fun.
First was Carter. It was Matt Carter. Yeah.
Matt. Okay. I'd say I knew it was Matt. I couldn't remember if it was Carter or Hordick.
It's interesting when you get out there with guys that, like I said, that they're over umpiring and they'll never quit. They're always going to be that solid. Russ has become a little more, as Russ and I get older, there's some guys that are a little resistant to that. So that's why it's so much more fun when you get the nerds out there and you get people that really want to communicate and play with it. I worked at 2 games with Don Umland, and he's at second base in a 4-man circumstance with a single runner at third. And he didn't like what the manual tells him. He's a guy that I'm going to let him go try something different. And he went back over to second instead of where he was behind the shortstop, and he liked it much better. So that's going to be communicated to Randy. That's going to be communicated to Shmoo. That's going to make it to the guys that do the manual. And it may change, but and Jake is right. This stuff is a little bit fluid. There's stuff we do with single runners at third that very much is up in the air, but with a ball hit to right field, and whether he gets to go underneath or not, whether it's can of corn, he definitely does. So unfortunately, I got to check out here, but very, very interesting conversation, brothers.
Yeah, hey, great seeing you, Dan, and best of luck this weekend. So for those of you guys that don't know, Don Umland is the national D3 umpire in chief, or they call him an umpire coordinator, but he's the top umpire at the NCAA Division III level. And so the 3 umpire system has been overhauled significantly over the last 10 years at the NCAA level. And with the SDUA switching to the CCA book, hopefully the 3 umpire system changes will come with it as well. Every year I love opening up my new book and seeing all the changes that have been made. And in my 5 years at the college level, I think we've had 3 mechanics changes in the 2 umpire system, and one of them was we added a situation in the mechanics book. But we've had a fair number of changes made to the 3 umpire and 4 umpire systems, and so there's a lot of change and experimentation going on, and I look forward to seeing that trickle down into the amateur levels of umpiring, because it's college baseball is just one big think tank. So I'm going to talk about situation here. No runners on, fly ball to right field with U1 going out. I'm going to let I'm going to bet this is Alex. I haven't watched this video for a while. Sees the ball, pause, read, react. There are a lot of things that I think at the lower levels of umpiring, not in professional baseball, not in the college game, that we don't think about certain things as much as, where's the first baseman located at? and so there's a lot more thought that goes into it, and you're always thinking, or should be thinking, especially at the college game. And I mean, I did a doubleheader Monday night with another college umpire. We did a varsity. We had the 4 versus 5 for Class A, and I mean, we had just some weird, funky stuff happen. We had a fielder go through a fence. We had a potential for a throwing at situation. But we were out there. I mean, he was hustling, I was hustling. We communicated really well and didn't miss anything. And I mean, I think the reason for that is because both of us are looking at this this game going, all right, we're going to have weird stuff happen. We know it. It's baseball. I mean, if I think there's an old adage, if I'm not going to go there, but you got to be ready, and you got to think ahead. And so thinking ahead is, all right, where are my fielders located? Dan was talking about what hand does what hand does insert whatever fielder throw with. For me personally, I can speak to my experience as a college hockey official and a tier 1 hockey official. During warmups, I'm looking to see what color are skate laces, socks. Is there something weird with the socks? Breezer's weird because that's just ways for me to identify, if I can't get a good look at a number, oh, it's, so-and-so, and they had, green tape on their stick for something like that. So being able to find those things and identify those weird little quirks can definitely help you, especially when stuff gets a little unique. I think we already watched this one. All right, so no runners on. This is where we got a clean base hit, and I think we've already kind of covered this a little bit. When we were talking, I drew the diagram of this on here, I think. So we got the pitch, and it's a triple, essentially. But that's kind of the rotational movement for the 3 umpire system. As far as with no runners on when we have a clean base hit. Russ, anything on this one?
No. You got a triple. That's nice.
I will say, when we go back to we talked about the 90 versus 180 a little bit earlier on. And the animation was really fast, but the way that I was taught, and Russ, for my own information, correct me if I'm wrong, please. Basically, U1 wants to mirror. So if the runner is here, U1 is here. In the same sense that when the runner is here, the plate umpire is here. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, that is right. Yep. You don't want to. It gets back a little bit to the over hustle thing. And the over hustle thing can get. The phrase can kind of get overused, but it truly is. If you're over hustling, if you're going too far, you end up proving to people that you don't know what you're doing and where you're supposed to go.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree. And so, that's one of those, it's a more advanced 3 umpire system mechanic. Russ, I remember the first time you and I met, and I'm comfortable in my abilities, and I have no problem sharing this story.
And I'm too old. I don't remember.
So to get into, so there's an association out of the Twin Cities called the Northwest Association of Umpires. Fantastic association. I love being a member. Lots of just fantastic umpires, and I've learned a lot as a member. So to get kind of into the college group, they want to see you work. And it's, you know, there's the old adage, your plate job gets you there, your base job keeps you there. Well, in the fall, you know, if it's a 2-man level, we're running 3 guys. If it's a 3-man level, we're running 4. That's just the nature of the beast. So I show up, and I think I have a grand whopping total of 5 or 6 games in the 3 umpire system under my belt. And no one has bothered to sit down and tell me how to do the 3 umpire system. And so all I've been staring at are these play picks, and I'm trying to make them make sense. And so I'm at St. Thomas, and Russ is there. Adam Berg was there, who just got the call. He's going to Cary, North Carolina for the D2 World Series this year. I learned third base mechanics by basically Russ standing right next to me on the field and showing me where to go. And so, you know, there's the simple 3 umpire system stuff, and then it just builds and builds and builds, and gets very, very in depth. And honestly, I think that was like the biggest 3-man learning experience that I had, because I had him out there just showing me. And I remember a good friend of mine, Kelly Dine, she's the first female umpire to work a game in the Big Ten. She was out at a camp, at a 3 umpire camp, and it boiled down to Jeff Henricks, we had on clinic last year. He just laid in the grass and was just kind of talking her through it. And so the 3 umpire system, it's not an easy system to learn, but it's one that you have to go do, and you absolutely have to screw it up in order to learn. I think that's the best way to do it. Like I was talking last week when I was working in the 3 umpire system, and, you know, my plate umpire was telling me, you know, one thing, and he's like, at the end of the day, you know, it's a feel thing. You know, you'll feel where you need to be. And so it's not easy like the 2. Well, I'm not even going to say the 2 umpire system's easy to work, but it takes some time to learn, and it's, you know, not something to get frustrated over. You know, just keep working at it. All right, so we got no runners on. U3 goes out on a trouble ball, stays out. I'm emphasis on stays out. I'm gonna just kind of take this, and we'll just let the animation kind of do it. That's odd. Just like 3-man, or just like the 2 umpire system. You won all the way. Plate umpire, just watch and observe. No runners.
See you, Jake, but I gotta head out.
See you later, my friend.
I gotta meet subs. Take care.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys.
All right. Let's see. We have 10 minutes. Cool. Should be able to wrap this thing up. No runners on with a trouble ball. U1's going to go out and stay out. A little different here. Plate umpire goes up. You know, in this animation, you know, we talk about, you know, plate umpire really gets to the 45-foot line. If you were on the call 2 weeks ago, I showed that John Tumpane video where we actually had a throw back into first base, and the plate umpire was standing right there, and man, it looked like $1 million. And so, you know, don't, you know, if this is going to be an inside the park home run per se, that batter runner has to go 360 feet. I think the plate umpire can do 180. You know, he can get up, come back. You know, it's a hustle. It's a hustle play right there. All right. It's very similar of sorts to the 2-umpire system where we have that wedge, except U1 will take the right field side of the field, or the outfield, I should say. And the plate umpire is going to take the left side. Perfect. Okay. And the only other thing that I'm going to add is, especially for the lower levels of the 3-umpire system, it's very important that we stay in the infield. The more advanced side of the 3-umpire system, you can actually go out from the infield. But that's, I wouldn't recommend it, especially for high school playoffs and whatnot. It's just it's unnecessary at that level, I guess, in my opinion. Clean base hit to the outfield. Pretty straightforward here. We're gonna treat it like the 2-umpire system, except U1's gonna drop down to the plate after the batter runner touches first base. All right, we got a fly ball to the outfield. The catch. I'm assuming in this situation we're talking about runners advancing. Fly ball to center field. And in this situation, the plate umpire still has the responsibility at third base. Same concept with U3 down the middle as when we have U1 up the middle, except we're just going to flip it around. So, and the plate umpire will take the entirety of the infield as opposed to just the little sliver that U1 would retain when U1's on the wing. But pretty much the same concept here as with U1 on the wing. So we got R2 in this situation. So U1 is deep in the baseline. There's no reason for them to be really up on the grass at all in this situation because, yeah, we might have a pickoff play, but if you're deep in the grass, you can still get a pretty good look at that. Or deep in the infield, you can get a pretty good look at that. With 2 outs, we want U2 and C, and U1's going to go back to A. This is because most likely play with the ball put in play is going to be a routine play at first base. And if there is a clean hit to the outfield or a fly ball, then we're going to slide. And I think we had a couple of slides coming up to talk about what the slide or the push mechanic is. Good little graphic there. A runner on second only, less than 2 outs, and a clean base hit. Pretty simple. R2, less than 2 outs, fly ball with U2 going out. So we go out and we revert right back to the 2-umpire system. are 3 only with a clean base hit to the outfield. Treat it just like a normal no one on. All right, here's the slide technique. Arguably one of my favorite mechanics in the 3 umpire system. There's 2 times that you'll use the slide mechanic: when you have R1, R2, or bases loaded. When you have a clean base hit, U2 takes R2 to third, R1 to second and third. U1 is responsible for the R1 to second base and the batter runner at first and second base. Here's the general concept of it. We have 1, 2, 3 umpires. If we use our normal baseball IQ, a clean hit to the outfield, we should all know that R2 is going to score. Or if R2 is not going to score, there's going to be a play at the plate. So we keep the plate umpire there. Now that leaves us with R1 and the batter runner. So U3, in this case, will take R1 all the way to third. U1 is going to do that again because I didn't do that right. U1 is going to come in and button hook and take the batter runner into second base. So at the end of the day, if we do everything right, we have a double. U3 is going to end up here. U1 ends up here. And the plate umpire ends up wherever they need to be at to take that play. As far as signaling a slide, I use this mechanic, and I'm always talking. So, you know, if I'm working with Dan, hey Dan, clean hit, we're sliding, and that mechanic works really well, and it's a good way to communicate on something like that. It's a good. It's a good graphic of the slide mechanic. Talk about the reverse rotation here quick. I should have added that the reverse rotation is also known as a slide. Couple things here. When they talk about finishing the play, I want to just kind of highlight here real quick where U3 starts. So we got the runner up here who is touching third base. U3 is there to watch it. And as soon as his responsibility is gone, you're going to see U3 just kind of circle back to the outfield, because as the video is saying, you know, it's always good to have the sliding, you know, the runner, you know, we're talking about having a runner come back in here. So that's why the U1 slides down here. Well, if there's, say, an overthrow and the batter runner advances to third, now we have the batter runner sliding directly into third base, and U3 is in proper position. Double tag situation. Ball's hit. And we're going to rotate. Plate umpire takes R2, U3 takes R1, and U1 is going home. It's pretty easy rotation. Just make sure we're communicating on that. Base is loaded. And we have I don't know what the situation is here. So U3 is in C position. We have a slide. It looks like. Yep, so this is basically a reverse rotation or a slide situation as well. Nothing happened with the baseball, so I'm not quite sure what we were going for with that, but we're still going to bring U1 into the infield here to help. And it's gonna be a similar concept here where U3 is still responsible for R1. U1's gonna have the batter runner, and plate umpire is gonna have R3 and R2 simply because we would anticipate that R3 and R2 are gonna score. All right. That is all we have on today's discussion on the 3-man umpire system. Best of luck to those who were assigned postseason. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great week.